Yeah, the webinar itself is our regular event every Thursday evening. So if you don't have any things to do, perhaps you can join our webinar. We discuss not only about networking, but the projects that the technology that is involved in our projects, like system administrations, Linux stuff, and then some of programmings and database as well. Right, and about yourself, I can see some of you already introduced yourself. Thank you very much. All right, and I can see many are not from here, not from Indonesia. Thank you again for coming. On to the far east, I think I can see some names because we have almost 50. Oh, it's already 50. 50 participants here. I think as some of you are from Australia. Okay, it's to the east, and then to the west. I can see here from Ghana, Africa. Okay, welcome to our webinar. Right. So for those who are in Africa, it's still early days over there. And for those in the East, it must be very late over there. Hope you enjoy this webinar and then get the most benefit out of it. Okay. Oh, yes, Central Africa. Wow. Yeah, I was in Africa before. Okay, let's talk about VLAN. Yeah, I will go through VLAN quickly because previously we have discussed the VLAN technology before. If you didn't attend our webinar regarding the VLAN, you can check in the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. You can view, you can recall the webinar. I mean the VLAN. Sorry. Okay, so when you have a VLAN, so I think I'll be discussing about the birth of VLAN. Okay, why do we need VLAN? Why do people create VLAN? So in the beginning, usually people create a network like this. Okay, so you have one side and you have the other side, and then you want to connect, and then you will use this router here to connect to the internet, right? So it's very, very simple topology. And then, yeah, it's a topology that mostly people use in their organization. And then if they want to segment, because for example, on the left is the finance, on the right is the marketing, for example, they don't want to join together. They want to have a separate network because of many reasons. So for that one, we need to provide physical equipment to accommodate those needs. Okay. So we have two switches here, one on the left, one on the right here, and then each of them will be connected to a router, and then so this router will connect into two networks. It's very simple, and then many organizations applied it. Unfortunately, if you have more sites and then more departments, so actually the finance guy is not only sitting in one place. They're also, this is finance, okay? The one on the right is the finance, and then, okay, let's pick another color. Yeah, and then the blue one here is for marketing. Okay, they have also marketing in other place, in other buildings. And then they also wants to separate, okay? They want to separate the network. They want to be apart. But they also wants to connect to the internet. So things like this. So the more segment, the more sites you have, the more headache you have, right? So things like this, okay, you have different networks, and then you have to accommodate all of them. You have to buy more switches because each switch will only connect to one segment only. Okay, as you can see, you are running out of space. You are running out of, I mean, you'll be consuming more space, more spaces, more money as well. You have to buy more equipment, and then it's also difficult to manage because you have more equipment, right? And then all of them are just independent as standalone, and then you have to connect all of them with many devices. So what VLAN can do is to join all of them. Okay, so instead of 3 physical switch, you just only have one physical switch, and then inside the switch you are partitioning the switch based on the VLAN. Okay, so here you have 3 partitions. Okay, inside the switch, so we can separate the switch logically. Okay, so physically it's just a normal switch, like a normal switch, but you can configure them, and then they will become separate separate groups. Okay, so it's easy, right? Yeah, so usually when you divide, it's based on the ports. So port 1 to 10, for example, 1 to 5, port 1 to 5 is for finance, for 6 to 10, for example, for other departments, 11 to 15 for another department, and then so on and so forth. With this logical partitioning, it's very flexible, and then it's also easier to allocate the ports where somebody is needing, for example, more connection to a segment. Right, so let's move on. So this is what happened with and without VLAN. So without VLAN, you have to provide more physical device. With VLAN, only one. Well, about the price, well, now the switch that support VLAN is now it's getting cheaper and cheaper. So I don't think you have a any reasons to reject VLAN. Okay. Some VLAN terms. So VLAN is a feature in layer 2 to do a virtual segmentation of physical switch. So in the VLAN itself, we have several acronyms, not acronyms, terminologies, where people use to describe VLANs. So on VLAN, usually you have a group here. Okay, a group. So one group belongs to a VLAN ID. So usually identified by number. So VLAN 10, VLAN 20. And then when you access a host to a switch, it's called access port. Usually access port is connected to the end device. Okay, this is end device. And then on the trunk, so trunk is borrowed from the telco terms trunk. Trunk means a connection between 2 central office. Okay, so this is the trunk. Okay, the one in the middle. So they're not connected directly to the end device. Okay, they just connect to 2 switches. So we just borrow the term and then use it. Okay, it's called trunk. So in VLAN we have 2 kind of ports, trunk port and access port. But in the implementation, we can for example, we can combine an access port and trunk port. So yeah, even though it's a trunk port where it can send a frame, a layer 2, right? Yeah, 2 is frame, a frame that is tagged with a VLAN ID, and at the same time, they also allowed only one a frame without tag. Okay, so in MikroTik terminology, VLAN is just called tagging. So a frame with tag and a frame without tag. Okay, so next. So what happened on the trunk port? So what they will do is to put a header on the frame. Okay, so in this case, when a frame is sent on the trunk port, there will be a what is it? A header that is insert between the MAC address. So it's still on the layer 2. So layer 2 consists of header and the trailer. Okay, this is the trailer, and then this is data from upper layer. So VLAN will be inserted into the layer 2 frame header. Okay, so we put something in between source MAC address and then ether type. Okay, so that's we put the VLAN information. Yeah. Anything else? No. So what about if one PC wants to connect to the other PC in different VLAN? So because different VLAN is different segment, and then the purpose of a router is to connect different segment. For example, this segment, that segment. So we really need the support of router. Okay. So the router will connect the VLAN so that each device on different VLAN can communicate. So they are communicating through the router. All right. Yeah. So here, trunk port is used to identify frame with a certain VLAN ID, and then access port is to connect to the end device. Okay. So in this case, in this slide, the port, the router will connect two VLANs using the access port mode. The problem is we have many VLAN ID. Okay, in one organization, if you implement VLAN, we have 2 to the power of it's maybe 12. I think 2 to the power of 12. Yes. So maximum VLAN ID is 4096. Okay. Well, for most organizations, this 4096 is enough. Okay. Even reach 100 in my VLAN. Okay. So I tried to reduce the amount of VLAN as small as possible. Okay. So I think for some organization, that VLAN ID is enough. Okay. So let's say you have a very big organizations, and then you have lots of VLANs, and then you are generating more VLANs, and then for that case, when you doing the Inter-VLAN routing using the access port here, this situation is not feasible. Okay, so because they are required many router ports, right? So you have lots of routers that has you have router that has lots of you must have a router that has lots of ports to accommodate VLAN. So because one port equal to one VLAN, okay? And then I don't see a router that has so many ports to accommodate the VLAN. Right. So the solution is the router itself can support the VLAN. Okay, so here we have a VLAN ID. Okay, so that we just only need one cable to go to the router. How that possible? Yes, through the VLAN ID. So when a packet's going through this cable, so there will be a tag. Okay, tag or ID. Okay, and then it will be received by the routers, and then the router will route the what is it? Route the packets to the destination. So that way we are saving more ports on the router side. Okay. So what happens if the switch itself is layer 3 switch? So it means that the inter-VLAN routing, okay, Inter-VLAN routing will be done internally on the switch. So it means the switch is the router, and then usually it costs more compared to the non-layer 3 switch. For MikroTik, all of their switches are layer 3 switch. So you can switch them. Oh, okay, some of them like CSS, yes, cloud switch. I forgot the name. I forgot the acronym. CSS, cloud switch router. No, not CRS. CRS is cloud switch router. So that one is layer 3. But there is cloud, which is only providing the switch functions. Okay, so yeah, so it means that the switch itself is the router. Yeah. For those who are using switch for the routers, I don't think it's appropriate way to do that, because the switch is designed for a layer 2 functions. Okay, if you use it as a router, you do not, you are doing NAT, network address translation on that. You do firewall, you do a layer 7 intercept. You will have you're really torturing the switch. Okay, so I have one client that is using MikroTik switch, okay, like the switch as their main router, and then all the time the CPU goes up to 50%, 60% during the peak hour. And then people are complaining when I check. Oh, okay, guys, please. Okay, this one is designed for switch, and then you are doing you are torturing the switch, and to make for configure the switch as a router. I got some chat here. CSS, yeah, Cloud Smart Switch. Yes, that's correct. It's the switch that is doing only the layer two things. Okay. Right. Okay. So it was CRS and then CSS. Okay. Cloud Smart Switch. So that was a story. So again, if you are doing, you're still doing routing using the switch, please, maybe you need to review your design of the network. So yeah, this is just a funny story about the VLAN. Okay, so the sales guy, it's not MikroTik, okay, to be honest. So they're proposing my client to buy a layer 3 switch. Not actually, it's not my client. Okay, it's just a funny story I got from an organization. Okay, so they were approaching the person there, and then trying to convince them as hard as possible to buy a layer 3 switch. But during the implementation, what they do is they are doing the inter-VLAN routing in MikroTik routers. So it's very funny. Okay. So why do you need the layer 3 switch then? Okay, if you do the inter-VLAN routing in other device. Okay, so why don't you just buy the layer 2 switch, only layer 2, nothing doing fancy with the switches. Okay, so to me it is very, very funny. Yeah. Right. If you use VLAN, do you have to use NAT too? Okay, it's we have a question here. Actually, VLAN and NAT is two different things. VLAN is for segmenting the network. Okay, so for example, as I mentioned before, port 1 to 10 is VLAN 10, port 11 to 20 is VLAN 20. For example, it's just for partitioning the switches. Okay, but NAT, network address translations, is not the VLAN's stuff. Okay, VLAN is layer 2, while NAT NAT, network address translation, is layer 3. So it's two different things. Okay. So when do you use NAT? When so the original purpose for NAT, or network address translations, is when you use a private IP address and then you want to connect to the internet, you have to translate your private IP address into public IP address. That's the original purpose for network address translation. Okay, but I don't know why many implementation here, even though it's in the a big university in Java, they are doing NAT inside the organization. So you have one room. In that room, you have a network segment. You want to go to the other routers, to the other room. The other room is also using has a network, and then in every room they have routers, and then when the package leaves the routers, it's already NAT by the network administrator there, which is very funny. Okay, so actually, the NAT is done when you go to the internet from the private IP to the public IP. So that's the place where you have to do NAT, not internal organizations. So what you do internal organization if you are doing routing. Okay. Right. So yeah, so that's why you need to do a good planning when you want to implement a routing. Okay, so overlay network. Overlay network is a network that is built on top of a current network, aka overlay network. So that means you must establish an existing network, a physical network, and then you build a network on top of that. Okay, so overlay network can create a virtual interface and IP address because they are not real. Okay. Again, you must establish an existing network, okay, and then you build a network on top of that. So if you build an overlay network, you can use point-to-point addressing, and of course, because you're creating a physical, a virtual interface, there will be more processing on that. Okay, because there will be more encapsulations, and then yeah, because you are encapsulating. When we do networking, we are encapsulating, right? We have 7 layers, and each layer you are doing either encapsulation or decapsulation when the packet arrives, right? So, for example, is a tunnel. Okay, so with the tunnel, you have overlay, you have underlay network, right? The network that's already built here physically. Okay, and then on top of that, you are creating a virtual network from here. For example, you have an office here, you have another office here. Okay, and then between office, you connect to each other. Okay, using the internet. So the internet is the underlay network, is the physical network that has to be established, has to be done stably before you set up an overlay network. Okay, and then from you guys, you can connect the VLAN here and then another VLAN here. VPN, not VLAN, sorry. Okay, so that was the overlay network, and then tunnel is one example of overlay network. Okay. Okay, so this is an example of underlay network. So you have an office here. Okay, so this is your, oops. Okay, so this is your office, and then you have a cafe here, and then this is your house. Okay, so you guys want to connect to the office, okay? And then from your house, you want to connect to the office because you have server in office, and then you need to access the server in order to make your job done. Okay, so what you will do, usually you will set up a tunnel to the office. Okay, So it's going to be like this. You will set up an overlay network, okay, from your device to the destination. Here's the, oops. Okay, so this is the destination, okay. This is the VPN server. Okay, this is the VPN server. And then, yeah, so the router. So this is the router. The router will get this IP address. And then the laptop here in the cafe will get this IP address. Okay. So at the cafe, at the laptop in the cafe, so you will have two IP addresses. So the first IP address coming from the cafe, the second IP address is from the VPN network. So that's an example of how overlay network looks like, okay? Okay. Right, another example is a router management overlay network. Okay, yeah, I mean, some of you already familiar with these features, right? Okay, so you have a MikroTik here, another MikroTik here, another MikroTik. So how can you know the other MikroTiks on your network? Okay, so that's the purpose of RoMON, okay, router management overlay network. So you can see here overlay, right? So you set up a RoMON here, another RoMON here, another RoMON here. Okay, so you are connecting to each other. Okay, they are communicating to each other. So that means, okay, so for example, you are also RoMON client here. You can connect to others, okay, to other network from your PC, okay, using the layer 2 connectivity. Okay, that's the beauty of RoMON. So basically what you can do is, okay, one way you can do is only MNDP, right? MikroTik Network Discovery Protocol is like CDP, okay, Cisco Discovery Protocol. So if you run CDP here, CDP, okay, let's say MNDP. Okay, so this is MNDP on router 1. So router 1 can only see this and can only see this. Okay, only a network or device, only a device that connects directly to the router 1. Okay. Yeah, but with RoMON, you can see and even you can be able to log in to this. Okay, from router 1. Right? Why? Because we are using RoMON. Okay, so RoMON is like creating an overlay network for managing your equipment. That's the beauty of RoMON. Okay, after this, if you haven't applied the RoMON, perhaps you should. It is good. It is good. Okay, but in some places, that depends on the layer 2. Some layer 2 connectivity, they block the RoMON frames. So yeah, RoMON is not working in that place. Okay, now we are talking about the VxLAN. So what happened with current VLAN? So they're good to some extent. In some cases, it's not sufficient. In which case, in what extent is not sufficient? Well, as you can see, VLAN only have limited, you say limited 4096, you see, you think it's limited? I mean, for normal organization, that one is more than enough, right? But there are some, maybe I don't think it's many, or maybe there will be an organization that thinks that the 4096 ID is not enough. So it must be a very, very big organizations. Okay, they have very huge number of customers. Okay, in some cases, okay, so the total number of VLAN ID is not enough. And then also they use VLAN protocol. So problem with the VLAN protocol is only one link is active. So for example, if you have 3 switches like this, okay. Okay, so you want to go from A to B, okay, and then you're setting up a spanning tree protocol. Only one line is active at one time, for example. For example, this is a root bridge, okay, and then of course, this link will be off, okay, to avoid the looping. So the connection will go through here and here. That's the drawback of the FTP. I mean STP, spanning tree protocol. So what happened with the cables here? Well, you can plug, but it's not used. There is no traffic in there. So automatically the port here will be disabled to avoid the loop on the network. Okay, it's disabled. Also, they're complaining the current switch is not able to accommodate the ARP table. There will be lots of customers, lots of devices, and then each device has MAC address, right? And then in the switch, you have a MAC table. MAC table. Oops, why it's not appear here? Okay, MAC table is usually consists of 2 parts. You have a MAC address, and then you have port. Okay, so the entry will be this MAC address, and then connected to port 1. You have this MAC address, connect to port 2. Okay. So some cases are in data center, in the ISP. Those who are complaining the VLAN, okay. So let's introduce the VxLAN. So VxLAN stands for Virtual Extensible Apps. Why is not coming out? Okay. So VLAN is VxLAN is Virtual Extensible Local Area Network. So what's the difference between the VLAN is the X here, okay? So actually the information about VLAN is available on RFC 7348 here. Was done in 2014, so it's not long time ago. And as you can see, some of the contributors are from network and then from the virtualization vendors, Intel, Red Hat, and then others. Okay. Yeah, so they are the one who is proposing that, oh, okay, let's do something new to accommodate our needs. Well, some terminologies are here. Every, when we introduce a technology, we always introduce acronyms, right? And that makes people confused about the terminologies. And then and sometimes we are running out, the terminologies, okay. How to describe things, okay. That includes in the VxLAN as well. So in the VxLAN, we introduce some terms here like VNI, VLAN network identifier. So to me, it's like a VLAN ID, VLAN ID. And then we have VLAN tunnel endpoint, okay, VTAP tunnel endpoint here. So an entity that originates, terminates VxLAN tunnel. And then we have VLAN, again, I often say VLAN, but actually this is a VxLAN, okay? So VxLAN is, VxLAN segment is the segment where the VxLAN stay there with the host. And then there is a gateway here, an entity toward traffic for between VxLAN. Okay, so actually the terminologies are, I mean, not new. Okay, so VNI, you can think it's like a VLAN ID. So here they are using a VxLAN network identifier, the segment ID. Okay, and then the VxLAN tunnel endpoint, so entity that originates and terminates VxLAN tunnels. Okay, so that was the terminologies. And then the benefit is, okay, if we're talking about VLAN, it means that we are talking about the technology that is bounded, okay, into a switch. Okay, it's layer 2 things. Okay, as you can see in the VLAN previously, is very layer 2. Okay, very layer 2. Okay, it was in layer 3 as well. When a router supports the when the router supports the VLAN here, but actually it's a layer 2 technology. Okay, where they put the the tag here on the layer 2 frame. Okay, so it's really layer 2, okay, on VLAN. But on VxLAN, it's not only layer 2, but it's on layer 3. Okay, so VxLAN is layer 3 technology, can be implemented in the switch and the router, okay, and other device that support VxLAN. It's more scalable, more ID, so it's much more larger than just only 4096. It's not limited by STP and suitable for multi-tenant environment, for example, cloud provider. Like, you know, previous contributor are people from virtualization, right? And then most of the cloud technologies are using virtualizations. Okay, so those are the motivation why they submit this proposal of VxLAN. Okay. Okay, so eliminate the problem. So inadequate table size on Tor. Tor means top of the rack switch. Okay, so about the header. So we introduced a new header for VxLAN. So we have outer Ethernet header. So it's like so again, when you talk about VxLAN, you can think it is like a tunneling protocol. Okay, similar to like UIP, PPTP, SSTP. So that kind of VPN things. Okay, the VPN that you use, especially in a country where they're blocking your favorite website. You know what I mean, right? So what they do is they usually add more headers, okay, in order to encapsulate the original payload. Okay, so you have outer IPv6, outer UDP, outer Ethernet. So this is the outer, and then inside you have a VxVLAN, you have a internal Ethernet, and then here's the payload. Okay, so so as you can see, this is the underlay protocol, right? Okay, that is used for to allow the VxLAN works, and then on top of that here, okay, you have the payload. Okay, and then here we have VxLAN. So VxLAN is using UDP. Okay, so here's the UDP, and then I forgot the port number. I think it's 4000 something. I forgot. And then inside we have internal MAC address. okay, and then iter type, Inter-VLAN tag, and then here's the original payload. So original payload is here, okay, this is the payload, okay, payload is here, okay, and then you are wrapping, you're putting more encapsulation on this, okay. Right, so you have, yeah, this is like a normal IPv4 header, okay, this is the IP header, this is the normal layer 2 header, and then here we have VNI, okay, so how many bits? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a lot. So instead of, so this is, we have from 0 until 31. So one line here is 32 bits. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here is 8 bits. So VNI is 32 minus 8 equals to 24, right? So this is 24 bits. So it means that the VNI is 20 bits. Okay, so equals to 2 to the power of 20 VNIs. Okay, so it's a lot. Okay, it's I'm sure it's more than 4096. Okay. Oh, I got some chat here. Oh, some people just joined the webinar. Okay, thank you very much for joining. Walaikum salam. Right. So that was the header of VxLAN. So actually, VxLAN is just a simple technology, in my opinion. Yeah. The marketing is making it like you know, it's a big things, and then yeah, make the things is quite scary. Okay, scary, delicious. Yeah, ngeri sedap. Okay, let's continue. Okay, about the deployment, so it's gonna be like this. So you have layer 3 networks. Oops. Okay, so you have layer 3 networks here. You have lots of routers. Okay, and then we connect to a hypervisor server here, server 1, server 2, and inside the server 2 you have virtual machine, right? It's like when you do AWS, Ali Cloud, whatever cloud, okay. Yeah, AWS, Azure, okay, Google Cloud Platform. So they connect to here. So inside the server, they can assign VNI. So instead of VLAN, okay, they can just identify. They just tag the service, the frame. Sorry, why did they say service? They just tag the VNI. Okay, they just use VNI. So here we have a hypervisor, a tunneling protocol. So VTAP, we have tunneling endpoint. So as you can see, so here you have VTAP here and also another VTAP here. So you have an IP here and then IP here. So both of them will connect over the IP address, over the layer 3 networks here, okay? And then they can communicate to each other, and then the customer here can connect to the customers there. So it's like a zone. If you're using, maybe, perhaps it's not similar the way they implement, but perhaps you can implement like this. This is zone 1, okay, and then this is zone 2, right? Zone 2. Sorry for that. Yeah, this is zone 2. Okay, so zone 1 and zone 2 are connected through a switch, a router, layer 3 network, and then they can communicate to each other. So VM on here can communicate to VM in the other zones. Okay. So in a nutshell, VxLAN is network virtualization technology. Yes, it's a network technology that supports virtualization. Yes. Because in the virtualization in data center now, most likely people use virtualization technology. Yes, right. And then inside the virtualization technology, you have multi-tenant. You have a customer, and then you want to isolate their customer, right? You don't want to allow their network can affect other networks, other customer, right? So you have to really isolate them. And one way to isolate them is by using VLAN. Unfortunately, VLAN only has 4096. Well, for me, it's a big number because my organization is not that big. But for those guys, those big guys like AWS, well, 4096 is small because they have more than that. Okay, so that's why they invented the VxLAN. Okay, guys, so that was the how the VLAN works. Okay. Any questions? Oh yeah, VLAN on MikroTik. Yeah, because MikroTik is also supporting in virtualization environments. Why? Because they are releasing the CHR, cloud. What is it? CHR, the CHR. I forgot the acronym. Cloud. What is H? I forgot the H. R is router. Okay, so this router, this CHR image is used for virtualization. Okay, virtualization. Cloud. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Yes, cloud hosted router. So in the beginning, MikroTik only produced ISO. Yeah, ISO. Oops, why is it not working? So ISO image, right? ISO image, and then ISO image work for physical router. Okay. What if the router is not physical? It's a virtual. Okay, so they invented the CHR. Okay, and then this is the CHR router. Here, after the CHR, there will be a VM here, and another VM, another VM. Okay, another VM. Oops. VM, and then each VM belongs to one customer, and then we have to isolate them, right? So that means the CHR, instead of using VLAN, they are using VxLAN. Okay. So currently, you will not see VxLAN on MikroTik in current stable release. It will be released on version 7. I don't know when, because they are still developing it. Many people are, I mean, really eager to see what is happening on version 7 because there are lots of improvement. And then new commands are introduced, okay, on version 7. And they promise that version 7 is much better than the previous release. Currently still beta, but you can still be able to test it. So we have, if you are logging into the network, to the MikroTik, you can see there is a new interface here called VxLAN. Okay. Oh, I have a question here. What's the difference between QNQ and VxLAN? Well, QNQ is VLAN, okay? It's VLAN inside the VLAN, okay? That is QNQ is one way to like a virtualization on VLAN. For example, this is you have a switch here. You have another switch 1, you have switch 2. Okay. This is a VLAN 10, and this is also VLAN 10. Okay. And here is VLAN 20. VLAN 20. So for VLAN 10 wants to connect to another VLAN 10 across the current VLAN, you have Q and Q. So when you send a frame here, there will be 2 tags. First tag is VLAN 20, and then another tag is VLAN 10. Okay, so it's Q and Q. Right, so hopefully that answered questions. Does the recorded session provided to the participants? Yeah, but we need time to upload to the YouTube. Okay, so if you want to connect, I will paste the access to our live access. Okay, and then here's the topology. At the moment, you can access router 1 until router 5. Okay, and then you have a PC on that. All right, so I will share my whole screen. Okay. And then, oh, it's already 8:30 now. Okay, let's do some faster. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I already logged into the, hopefully you can see my screen here. Oops. Right. Hello, please turn off your microphone, please. Right, so I already logged in to, okay, some of you already logged in, thank you. Okay, so I can access the router 1, okay? The way to access the router 1 is using telnet. Telnet and netsim 117, I think, yeah. .lan.glc networks.com and port 2001. So start with 2 and the next 3 digit depends on the router number. Okay, so if you are accessing router 1, just go to 2001. If you want to access router 2, it's 2002. Right. Okay, so I can log in and then here it is. I already log into router 1. And then if you want to see I forgot system. Yeah, this is router, this is system package print. Okay, so this is router OS beta, okay, version 7 beta. Okay, if you want to see the interface print. Okay, so these are the available interface, the physical interface. But if you do tab, okay, you can see there is a new interface here named VxLAN. Okay, you can see VxLAN and then print and nothing happened. Okay, so actually what you can do is VxLAN add, you can choose a name, okay, VxLAN, for example, 30, okay, VNI is 30, for example, and then you can display, here it is. So this is the VxLAN, and then the VxLAN is using port 8472. Okay. I can see some chat here. I can see, can different VNI communicate with each other? No, VNI is like a VLAN ID. So one VLAN, the host in same VLAN ID can talk to each other. So if you want to connect to different VNI, and then you have to use routers for that. Okay, I'm not unable to connect using PuTTY. Well, you have to change the X into numbers. Okay, so I have provided several username so that you can log in to it, and then you can try to log into our routers. Okay, so that's how you create the VxLAN, and after you create the tunnel, so you need to set up tunnel into 2 places, okay, between, for example, router 1 and router 2. So I have to log into router 2. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so you can do telnet netsim 117.lan.glc networks.com port 2002. Ah, okay, I can see somebody is typing on there. Ah, okay, no. Okay, so let's set up the identity. Set name equals to router 002. Yeah. So this is router 1 and this is router 002. Yeah. And then here interface VxLAN print. Oh, they already have VxLAN 10 over there. Well, we can add a name, for example, VxLAN 30, VNI 30. Okay, and then start. Oh, VNI 30 is already there. Yeah, really? Oh, yeah, it's here. Okay, let's delete it. Remove number VxLAN 10. Okay, let's start again. And then off we go. Yeah. Well, I think I mean, for the live session, I think we need to end this because I have another agenda in 10 minutes. So I need to stop now. I'm really sorry, guys. Okay, so for you, if you want to practice, to keep continuing practice, you can do so. You can try something. Yeah, you can do something here on the live chat. I'll be stopping the live server in 1 hour from now, so that you have 1 hour to do that. So I think that's all, the webinar for today. Thank you very much for coming. Anything else from moderators? Abdin? Hello? Hello, moderators?
Hello?
Yeah, okay. So we're about to close the webinar. Thank you very much. You have some words to say to the participants?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for the wonderful tonight, because you are coming, and then all together activities here, 59 participants, for much appreciated for your join. And then please give your feedback, because your feedback is really important, and we hope this webinar will give you a good benefit. Hello?
Yeah.
And the last request, please turn on your video, please. And we can take
Oh, yeah,
together.
okay. Yeah, so guys, this is a photo session. So can you please turn on your video so that, yeah, we can take a picture. Is it okay, admin? Okay, please turn on your videos, guys. So we're going to have a photo session here. I can see many of you are here already. Okay. Okay, let's take a picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, the next page. 1, 2, and 3. Great. Are you there, admin, for checking the photo? Yeah, I think that's enough. Thank you very much once again. And I think we can end the photo session. And then please, we have a feedback form here. Hopefully you get the most benefit from our webinar tonight. And then, yeah, we really like you to put your feedback on our webinar to make this webinar better. Also, if you have a suggestion for topics that needs to be discussed, feel free to do so. You can contact admin. You can write them in the feedback form. Right, so I will leave several minutes here. I will stop the share.